All right, guys. Well, welcome to week 5 of Coach University. You guys have been amazing showing up and getting your training done. I know you've been doing a lot of implementation, a lot of learning. Remember, just take it one day at a time. And honestly, if you need anything, reach out to your coach, reach out to the team page, whatever you need. We truly are here to help you, and we want to see you succeed with this. So don't ever feel like if you're overwhelmed or, having a hard time, you're alone in that, because you're not. This week, we are going to be going over some kind of fun topics that we enjoy. We're going to be talking about coach enrollments and follow-ups and kind of the art of asking and those sort of things. And they're kind of building on topics that we've already been talking about. So if you haven't completed the weeks before this, please go back and do that, because everything truly in our Coach University builds on each other each week. So it's important to do that. So something that I learned right away with my coaching experience was about the Beachbody story. And I had no idea what Beachbody was. When I started as a new coach, I shared I had started the 21-day fix, but before that, I had maybe heard about P90X or Insanity, but I didn't know what the company was or what they stood for. So I'm going to just briefly share the Beachbody story, kind of how we became a company and how our founders started. So Carl Deichler, who is our CEO, and John Congdon, they had actually worked together on an infomercial company, and they were pretty successful together. And they came up with this great idea for people who needed at-home fitness and health solutions. So they pitched this idea to their infomercial company. They hated it. So they're like, no, people need this. And so they went out and they actually did it on their own. So they created a program called P90X, which we know about. And they started their own infomercials with this, and it was a flop, which the P90X we think of today is highly successful. People rock it. They see amazing results. But when P90X first came out, not good. And they found two things. People were either purchasing the program and not opening it, or people were afraid to purchase the program through an infomercial. They didn't have enough information, or they didn't trust it because it was an infomercial, like the source that they were seeing it on. And another thing happened. People who were buying the program were either not opening it, or they would start it, but they would never complete it. So they were finding kind of holes in the system of the infomercial. So they needed to find a better way for people to get this information, and a better way for people to actually get hooked up with P90X, other than an 800 number, right? And we know with growing technology and stuff, nobody, well, not nobody, probably my 80-year-old grandmother would call in an infomercial, but nobody our age, 40s, 50s, would probably call into an infomercial anymore. So they needed a different platform. So after interviewing customers, they discovered that people who were seeing the best results were people who had buddied up with others doing the program. And there was this huge grassroots community that was being built of Beachbody customers that found each other through word of mouth. And this was before social media, you guys. So it's pretty cool how that, that community, that social community was happening before social media. So Beachbody identified this, and they were like, we need people to facilitate this community and have people help each other. And then the coaching opportunity was born. So another important factor in the building of our coach community was a decision of how Beachbody would best compensate a coach who was helping people just for being a loyal promoter. So the answer to that was adopting the network marketing platform. And they wanted to do it a little bit differently than other companies that you think of. Like Avon was huge then, and Mary Kay and all that. They wanted to do it a little bit differently. Those were successful models, but they wanted to do it in a way that we would be brand ambassadors, community activists, and most of all, which is one of our vital behaviors, is being living proof that our products and programs can create a healthy, fulfilling lifestyle. So you guys, they created the coach opportunity from that, and we are all about the network helping company rather than network marketing. So we truly just built this community on helping people and providing challenge groups, in-person help, phone calls, text messages, behind the scenes messages, and that is our coaching community. So Stacy, I know that you have helped me with sneak peeks before and webinars that kind of share that community and how others can get involved with coaching. Do you want to share a little bit more about how we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for the background information, Cassie. And as Cassie said, I'm Coach Stacy, and I've been a coach for a few years now, and I absolutely love helping new coaches get started because I know this has been such an amazing experience for me, and so I feel so honored and privileged to be able to share it with other people as well. So one of the first things is as you begin talking to people about this opportunity of coaching, it's really important to keep that discussion really simple and focused. You're going to be excited with everything that's going on, but you want to keep it easy on yourself. And so what we do is we actually host the Sneak Peek Facebook groups, and it's only offered to our team so that they can see the kind of people that they'd be working with and the support that they're going to get. And your job is basically to invite them to the group, and you're inviting people who you think might be interested in this or curious about coaching, or someone that you think would actually just do a really good job with coaching on our team. So you can let them know that this group is a no pressure environment. We just go over all the different common questions that people have when they're getting started. What a coach is, what we do, how they can make a part-time income or a full-time career out of it. Just answering all those questions that people will have when they first think of like, what is a coach? What does that involve? So we do that in that group, but then we also do something called a opportunity webinar. And this is a shorter one-time video that kind of goes over the coaching opportunity. And again, we cover all those details about coaching so that they can see if it's the right decision for them. But we kind of rotate through doing a sneak peek or webinar format so we can meet different people's schedule and also show them again what that team environment is all about, because that's so important in this. And always when you start talking about coaching, it's so important to share why you became a coach and what you enjoy about coaching. I know for myself, I always share with people the struggles I was going through after my car accident and how being on this journey really helped me to grow stronger, both physically and mentally. And I got to really start living that life that I was always wanting but didn't know how to do. And it also provided that extra money and freedom that I was yearning for. So, you can see that passion and that conviction that comes through, and that's what you're going to show to them too. And so they can start to see what it would be like for themselves. And that's such a powerful motivator in conveying this opportunity to see what's possible for them. And so when I first started, I just kind of did a simple invitation, and it's something along the lines like, I'm inviting you, some of my curious friends, to take a look at what coaching is all about. We're going to share some information, answer questions in a Facebook group, just so you can understand and discover without feeling any pressure to join in. If I added you to the group, would you take some time in the next week to check it out? The key here is to stick to an invitation process and just ask, if I added you to the group, would you take some time to check it out? Very simple and not complicated. And don't be afraid to invite people to this. They're following you on your journey. And I always like to give the example of, it's kind of like having a party. If you're hosting this amazing party and you've been talking about it for a while and people see it, they get really excited, but they're not going to show up to your house for your party if you don't invite them, because that would be weird. So it's just like that with this too. You want to make sure to tell them about it, but also to invite them, because chances are they're really interested, but they just don't know how to get started. So this is just a really wonderful way for potential coaches or people interested to get a sense of that team, that community, what we do as coaches, that we're real people, and to determine if coaching is right for them too. So to follow up with this, I have a little bit of homework for you guys. And what that is to invite 2 people or more, if you're ready to go for it, to our next team-wide sneak peek or to the webinar coming up as well. So I'm going to hand it off to Ashley now, and I think she's going to chat with you guys about the art of asking.
Thanks, Stacy. Hi, guys. I'm Coach Ashley, and I am going to talk to you about the art of asking. So really nothing in your business happens until a decision is made, and a decision can't be made without asking someone to make a decision, right? So this is how you can make positive steps in your business with you being their coach, and you can make sure that these people are ready for the decision that you're asking them to be made. There are a few common reasons of why coaches don't ask for a decision from their contacts when they're starting these conversations. Examples of this could be fear of rejection. So what if they say no to me? Another one could be fear of success. Will they really be successful? Self-doubt, I don't want to let them down, or lack of follow-up. I said I would get back to them on Friday, and maybe, I should do it next week. Really not following up, or also your desire to be busy. So if I keep them in my pool or in my funnel, I feel like I have things to do and I can always come back later. But really, when you're not asking for a decision, you're really kind of getting that negative momentum in your business, and you really can't move forward. So a lot of people also worry about sounding pushy, and if your true interest is to help these people, you're offering such a great experience, and you can really help these people, they'll understand that, and it won't sound pushy. It's going to be sincere. So just keep remembering that you're there to encourage them to make the decision, and really be positive about what you have to offer and how this can change their lives. So here are a couple of suggestions on how you can ask for better decisions. Number one, be bold. So don't beat around the bush. Show you're confident by clearly asking for the decision. Number two, make it easy for them to decide. So let them know that you're confident in them and their ability to see results. Another way to do this is kind of share the results that you've experienced to show that it is possible. Number three, give options, but suggest a solution. So a lot of people like options, and I think a lot of our products offer multiple options, but there's always usually one really good solution for an individual to get started, but do let them know too that they have options. So follow up, but don't chase them down. So I always write down within 24 hours, I want to be able to follow up with someone, and I'll let them know too. So for example, how Stacey said, if I put you in this, will you take a look? Also let them know that you'll follow back up with them maybe the next day at a certain time. So they're kind of ready for you to reach back out. And then lastly, keep yourself focused on why it will be good for them. So honestly, we're offering positive things to change lives. And it's our interest to sincerely help people and help them with their goals. So just as you continue to be positive, they'll really see the positivity from you, and they'll be able to trust you and then be able to make that decision. So just as Stacey had before, I do have some homework for you as well. I want you guys to look at your contact list and highlight the people that you've sent information to or who seem to be on the fence, and ask them for a decision. Be bold and ask them to make a decision. There's really no win or lose in this exercise. It's really how you move forward and you help more people. This is a skill that you can practice. And if you're struggling with this, let us know your concerns when asking for a decision, and we can help you. Next, we are going to talk about a few follow-up steps and how we can reconnect with someone later, and that can be a great way to get them started too. So Jerry, do you want to talk about follow-ups?
Hello, I'm Coach Jerry. And so you guys have already done your contact list, and you've been inviting, and you've probably heard some no's and you've probably heard some yeses. So overall, that's part of the business. So don't get discouraged with those no's. You're probably making some regular posts on social media, and you have people commenting or liking on those posts. So those are people that are showing interest in your story and your business. So I like to kind of keep track of, so if I post a few posts like on Monday, then I'll go back on Tuesday and I'll look to see who liked those posts or maybe even commented. And then I'll follow up on them and just say, hey, thanks for following along. I don't know if you're just showing me some love on my journey, but I also wanted to invite you to this, wonderful opportunity. Again, kind of like what Cassie was saying, or I think actually Stacey, if they're not invited to the party, then they're probably not going to come. One thing that I've learned is a lot of people don't like to, they're like, oh, well, I didn't know that I could be a part of your group. I didn't know that I would be, somebody that would fit into your group. And
I know it's easy to kind of get caught, like, that's not quite I don't understand that when people think that way, because it's like, of course, the more the merrier. But people feel that way, and they don't feel like they're welcome unless if you kind of say something first. And I've also had people say, oh, well, since you've reached out to me, yeah, I wanted to ask you a few questions. And then your conversation started. So you also, the contact list that you were talking about, and like Ashley said, going back and highlighting the people that you've already sent those to. So once you've sent that initial message, you've kind of started the funnel process, so to say. So you want to make sure that you're following up with them. So if you send them a message, then, and say they don't necessarily get back to you, that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't want to be a part of it. Maybe they were grocery shopping with kids, or just grocery shopping, and they're busy and they saw your message come across and then they forgot about it because then it wasn't bold on the message. I do that a lot. So, and I've just gotten in the habit that I just don't answer messages until I have time. But that's it. There's no harm in saying, hey, I just wanted to check back in. I know life gets busy, but I just wanted to see if you still had any interest, or maybe you had any questions. I'd love to chat with you sometime. When would be a good time to chat? And then leave the question back on them. They're also, one thing to remember is they're also watching your journey on social media. So they're watching everything that you post, and they're kind of watching your story unfold that way. Another way to kind of reach out to somebody that maybe you haven't heard is just to see if you ask them if they have any questions about any of the information that you've already talked about. Or one thing that I like to do is say, I know sometimes just chatting back and forth can kind of be overwhelming. What would you think if I sent you a video? And then you can send them a video about the 21-day fixed nutrition plan, or maybe how the Beachbody on Demand works, and see if that maybe helps clear up any questions that they might have as well. I know I learn best by watching and doing, so maybe reading through a bunch of messages isn't quite their forte. So, or you could just say, if you haven't heard back from them, another thing that I do is, hey, how's your week going? I know we had chatted and I know life gets busy, but just wanted to check back in with you and see how things were going. Maybe they've had a death in the family, or maybe, something happened to their dog or their cat, or, life happens and people get busy and we're not the number one thing on their mind. So don't feel bad about reaching back out to them and following up with them, because that's part of our job as being their coach. So, also, you want to make sure that you're following up with your new clients that are already part of your challenge group. I try to do this at least once a week. Sometimes I don't get it done once a week, but I always try to get them, within that 10 days or so. Just check in. Hey, how's everything going? Do you need anything from me? And also with your challenge groups, I can kind of keep track of them that way. Who's checking in, who's posting the sweaty selfie, who's posting their goals and their nutrition for the day, and the struggles and their successes as well. So the challenge group kind of helps me keep track of everybody, and the people that aren't checking in regularly, then I reach back out to them at that point. And I try to do that once a week, if not the 10-day mark, but 10 days I feel like is a long enough time to go without talking to them. So to keep them involved. So your success as a coach happens on one foundation principle, and it's your belief in the solution that you are bringing to people's lives. So kind of like everybody else has already talked about, these programs work, and they need somebody to believe in them and cheer them on until they find the belief themselves. So it will happen, but we have to find that, that first non-scale victory of maybe your clothes fitting looser, or maybe it is a scale victory and they've lost a few pounds, or maybe they're not craving, crummy foods anymore and they're not eating as much sugar and they feel amazing. Whatever it is for the customer, they have to find that belief in the system, and then they'll be a believer, and it's much easier from there for them, obviously. Oftentimes a coach's belief in the potential of the client is shaken by the unmet expectations. So you need to be able to stay strong in your belief and know that they can achieve anything, and that you have also been through this and also been on your path and struggled a few times. So let them know that that's, not necessarily, it's part of the journey. And you can also say, I'm still learning at this. I've only been a coach, for coming up on a year here. So I'm still learning things and everything's still new to me. And I think that's just life. No matter what you're doing, no matter what job you're in, or anything that you do, you're always learning and there's always something new. Stuff's changing and you got to keep everything fresh. So that's another thing. Also, with the follow-up process, say that they don't follow up or reach back out to you. You follow up and you've sent 3 messages and you've sent 5 messages and they're still not getting back to you. That's not anything personal against you. That's, they're either too busy or they're just not ready yet. You've planted that seed. They're following you on social media. They're watching your story. They're paying attention. But for whatever reason, at that point in time, it's not right in their life at that moment. So don't get stressed out about it. Just stay relaxed. And what I normally do is I write them down in a couple of months or the next month and I check back in them. Because the last thing you want to do is just keep messaging them and, then they're going to get that, oh, she messaged me again and I haven't gotten back to her. You don't want to overwhelm them that way either. So just leave it alone and then move on and put them on, for your month's follow-up or so. I'll share with you, I guess, with a little thing with what I do. I am just plain old pen and paper. I don't do anything fancy, and sometimes it changes, but it's been pretty consistent here. So at the top, I have like everything that I need to do for the day. So like send my happy birthday messages, follow up and connect, social media posts, all those daily vital behaviors. And then each day I just write down names. And so say on Monday, I'm going to follow up with these people. And then when I follow up with them and I send them a message, then I'm going to write them down on Wednesday. And if they haven't sent me anything back on Wednesday, then I'm just going to shoot them one of those messages and say, hey, just wanted to check in, see how your week was going, and just wanted to know if you had any questions from our conversation that we had talked about. But hopefully they're getting back to you and you keep getting them a little bit closer to getting them started on the program. A little homework as well. We all have our assignments for you. I want you to create a list of follow-ups for the week and share some of your experiences that you have had with your coach. Number 2, I want you to make a list of people that you would love to have on your team and start a conversation with them about that. That's one perk about being in this coaching community is we get to choose who we work with. So I am a nurse by trade, and I don't get to choose who I work with. I show up, and whoever's there for the day, that's who I work with. So being a coach and getting people to be on your team, that's one of the perks is you get to choose who you work with, and you kind of get to pick who gets to be under you that way. So, and number 3, I want you to think about any fears or hesitations, any limiting belief that you have, write them down, and then set up a time with your coach and let them talk with you and kind of work through those things that you feel like are holding you back or that you're fearful of. And hopefully you guys can develop a plan to help you break through those and step out of your comfort zone and reach for the stars that way. So Cassie, do you want to share a little bit more on building a team?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Jerry. Really good tips. I use a system similar to yours, and I also have used TeamZ, so you guys can look into that too. But yeah, building a team is like one of my favorite parts of being a coach, and I didn't know that until I started building a team. Like Stacy joined me pretty early on, and then Amber, another coach on our team, and it just kept building. And these are some of my favorite people on the planet now, and I feel so lucky that not only do we get to work together, but we also like travel together, we go to events together, and so they really are like my family. But a couple of things, you guys, I just want to talk about when you're expanding your team. You want to find people who are like your tribe, and I know that might be a weird word, but like the women who are on this call with me right now, like they are my tribe, they're my people. I love them. Like we would hang out together on the weekend. We don't live near each other. Well, I don't live near you guys, but they're really great people. And they're the kind of people that I want to personally work with for the rest of my life, which is crazy cool. So step 1, identify who you want on your team. Okay, and that's going to help you kind of attract the right people. Step 2, create a vision for what you want on your coaching team. That way, when you're talking to potential coaches, you can share that vision and see if it aligns with what they want in their life, and they can kind of see their vision or your vision in their life as well. And then step 3, identify weaknesses that you have. And I know that's kind of a scary one, but think about things that might be hesitations or objections. And those are really great things you can nip in the bud right away when they have those initial conversations with people. And then step 4, that invitation that kind of happens, and think about how you can just invite naturally. Maybe it's a challenger, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's someone that you work with. Naturally invite them to the coaching opportunity or to a sneak peek or a webinar, and make it a no pressure kind of situation. So you guys, I guess when it comes to inviting and enrolling new coaches, really just be a natural, share the opportunity and share how much it's changed your life. And then again, invite them to get to know your team and what you do. So homework for that, choose 3 people, have a conversation with them about coaching, invite them to a sneak peek or a webinar. That's really it. And check out the resource guide, you guys. We have lots of great things on there. Congratulations. You're almost done with Coach University Week 5. Keep going, you guys. You're doing awesome. Reach out if you need anything. Thanks.